For this video, I'm assuming that you have your development environment set up on Windows and that you've been developing on your own system. You kind of have most of that figured out, but at this point you just want to be able to copy all your files to Onyx so that you can submit your project. So what I'm going to start with here, I have my Eclipse project open. So this could be, in your case, your project 0, your project 1. I have my hello world.java in here. I still need to add my README. And I also have a connection to Onyx open using MobaXTerm as shown in previous videos. So first thing we need to do is figure out where these files are on my Windows system. And one way to do that, if you don't remember where they are stored by default, is you can right-click on the project name and go to Properties. And here it's going to show me that my files for this project are in C, Users, Marissa, Workspace, Test. Let's open a File Explorer on Windows to that location. Come down here. I want to go to my PC, C, Users, Marissa, and my Workspace, and it's in the test directory. Now you will see all of these other files here. The only one that you want to copy is the hello world.java. One strange thing about Windows is that at some point they decided they weren't going to put extensions on the file names anymore. So like here we don't have .java, but if we hover over it we can see it's a Java file. If you want to see those extensions, you can go to View and check File Name Extensions. Now it'll show you the .java. This is also helpful when you create your README files. You want to make sure that it doesn't have an extension. Okay, so I'm going to leave this Explorer window open because we're going to use that here. But I can go and close this in Eclipse, minimize Eclipse, and come back over here. And I will put these side by side so you can see what we're doing here. All right, so on my Onyx connection, again, just another tip for you guys. Notice how it's listing all the files in my home directory. So this is on Onyx /home, yours would be /faculty/ your username. It has all of these files here that start with a dot. Those are hidden, so if I go over to my terminal and type ls, those don't show up here. If I uncheck this box, I can also make those disappear in this view right here, which makes it just simpler, more simple to look at. Okay, our goal then is to copy our files into the directory that we want to submit from. Because I want you guys to start using the terminal a little bit, I'm going to do this from the command line. So I'm going to cd into CS121, which is where I'm keeping all my project files. And then I have a P0 folder. You'll notice it's empty right now. Now that is the same as going over here, clicking on CS121 and going into project 0. We have the same view. Okay. And in MobaXTerm, there's two ways to copy files from my local system, my Windows machine, to Onyx. I can click this purple upload button and I can browse to it this way. So I can select it. That is not actually the right one because I want to go to C, Users, Marissa, Workspace, Test, and I can select the file I want to copy. And now, if I come over here, it shows up in this listing, and it also shows up here. It copied it. Another way you can do this is to find it on your local system. If I can move this over, that's why we navigate it to here, and just drag it across, and it'll copy that way. That's the way I like, but whatever works for you. Okay. Now that we have our file here, I can actually make sure that it works. I'm going to say this twice. Make sure that it works. Sometimes when you copy over files, it doesn't actually copy the contents. Depending on your network connection, something could have gone wrong. So to print the contents of my file, I can say cat helloworld.java. Make sure it's all there. It looks like it is. And I would also highly recommend always compile and run your program before you submit. So here I'm going to run Java C and then Java hello world, and it works. So at that point, I could run the submit command from here. I also need to add my README, so I would do that maybe on my Windows machine and copy it over using the same process. Copy files the other way. Let's say I went and worked in the lab and then I want to grab all my lab files and put them on my Windows machine at home. I can do the same thing. So to start, let's go in the terminal and let's create a file called README. One way I can create files is using the Vim text editor, and I'm going to do that here. You don't have to worry about this, but assume you made this README file on campus. So in here, I'm just going to say this is my README, just so we have something to play around with. Okay, so now if I refresh over here, I'm clicking this button, this shows up on Onyx. To get it onto my workspace, I can just, like I said, the same thing, drag it. I don't know if you saw that, but I just grabbed it and drug it over here. And now I have the README on my machine. If I come to Eclipse and refresh, the README is now on my system. And you can do that with all of your Java files. So hopefully that gets you through the point of copying your files back and forth. If you are interested later in the semester, you can get a hold of me about using version control, but we get to that in later classes. All right, see you later. Thanks.